What is up, my fellow HHN obsessees, and welcome to the HHN Obsession podcast, where we talk about all things HHN and obsess together over this amazing event. I am JJ, your host, and with me I have the co-host with the most, James.
James. Oh, you said James. I thought I was gonna say James. It's me. Yeah.
It feels so good to be back. We're here for HHN32. There's literally so much to talk about. It is so exciting that it is almost here. We're literally, as of this recording, 10 days away from the start of HHN32. Yeah, it's been a while, unfortunately. One day we will get this podcast kind of in a rhythm, but we've been gone for a bit. There's been some kind of life events that have happened, but we are back and we are going to try to start up episodes again. It's good to be back, James. What's up with you? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've managed to stay in the dark this far, so like I'm spoiler free.
That's what's really cool about this discussion episode. Is James here didn't really look at all the announcements. He's kind of in the dark of what's going to be here at HHN32, so he's going to be hearing everything.
Yeah, I caught a minor spoiler, but I flashbanged myself. I think that has the same effect as like the Men in Black thing. I don't have their little pens, but I did a flashbang, so I can't see right now. But I'm
All
good.
right.
I don't remember anything.
This should be fun. This should be fun. So, we are going to treat this episode as kind of like a guide to HHN 32. Um, since we're kind of late on recording all this kind of big announcement of all the release of the haunted houses and scare zones, we'll just treat this as kind of a guide episode. So, if you're about to go to HHN, you want to know what's going to be there, where everything's going to be, this is the episode to listen to.
Yep, been there, done that.
Yeah, it's kind of new for us, and I think we should hold off on the food because once all the food is released, I think we should have a guide to the food. So technically, this won't be a complete guide to HHN32, but this will cover all of the houses, scare zones, and the show, and then all some little couple extra little things that are happening around the event we'll talk about as well. So, all right, feeling pretty good. Think we should like get right into it about what's coming to
All
the
right.
event. I think we should start off with the houses, of course, and I think we should go counterclockwise around the park. All right. So as you enter the gates for HHN 32, you're gonna go straight past the Universal store, and to the left, right there, in between the Universal Store and Despicable Me Minion Mayhem is the first entrance to the house, to the first house, and that is going to be Blood Moon Dark Offerings, and this is going to be the first original that we're going to talk about. So the description says colonial era villagers begin to worship the moon obsessively. When the blood moon rises at their fall festival, they take it as a sign that they must hunt down any non followers within their village. Guests will need to try not to become part of the sacrifice as they gather body parts to form a grisly offering in Blood Moon Dark Offerings.
Hmm.
This is going to be in a soundstage. So apparently, this house, from what I've been seeing and hearing off social media and the forums, is that this house is going to be a very scenic, beautiful looking house, very similar to last year's Dead Man's Pier. So it's going to be very pretty looking, apparently.
Makes sense. It's one of the first ones you see, right?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, it makes sense that it would look nice since it's one of the first things you see on your way in. But I don't know
Yeah,
much
that is
about it.
true. However, I'm kind of a little cautious about this because last year the first two houses were originals and they were the worst of the event, in my opinion. It was The first one was Hell Block Horror, and that was the replacement for Evil Dead Rise, apparently. And it was not that great of a house. However, that house was apparently built really quickly, so I guess it wasn't entirely their fault on that. If this is if this is similar to Dead Man's Pier, I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. This could be also the Blood House. I mean, blood is in the title, so it could be a very gory house.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
Could be
And
the surprise popular house. You never know.
so, looking off of the Halloween Horror Nights wiki page, there's kind of backstories for these. It says the house took place in a colonial era village about a cult that praises the blood moon. One day, the blood moon rose on a small town that was barely clinging to life. As most people struggled to find food, causing many to die off, a cult in the village that worships the blood moon decided that they would kill all of those who didn't join their cult on the day of the harvest. They would kill them and offer their body parts to the blood moon. Guests would wander through the village trying to avoid being sacrificed.
Yeah, cool. It sounds cool. That's a topic they haven't touched on really is like historical hysteria, right? Like like mass. I don't know about genocide, but like that's interesting because it's kind of like a realistic thing, right? Like
Yeah, I mean,
small
could
town
very well
madness.
be. Now,
Yeah.
this was kind of done last year in a way with the Chupacabra house.
Oh,
That
really?
was like a Mexico village that worships this Chupacabra, I believe, and they like sacrifice the tourists that come into the
Ah,
town. Like they hold this big fiesta, and they bring tourists into that fiesta, and then they take the tourists and give them as kind of an offering for the Chupacabra to leave them alone.
cool.
So it's sort of similar in that way, but um, still different, and I'm totally cool with that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. So the next house, James,
Which way
you
are we
want
going?
to take?
We're
So
going
we're gonna
left or right?
go. We're gonna keep going straight past the new Minion Land, actually, and it's gonna be in the plaza in between Rip Ride Rocket and the Jimmy Fallon ride. Yeah, it's going to be the Exorcist Believer.
The Exorcist Believer with a little asterisk next to it. I wonder what that's about. Asterisk. Okay, so it says, inspired by Universal Pictures' terrifying new horror film from Blumhouse and Morgan Creek Entertainment, in theaters Friday, October 13, The Exorcist Believer Haunted House will transport guests to a bustling street market in Haiti, where an innocent purchase of a strange folk doll with three eyes leads to the opening of a demonic portal, the awakening of sinister spirits, and the subsequent disappearance of two 12-year-old girls in the U.S. The girls are found 3 days later with no memory of what happened to them. After the girls begin to exhibit unsettling behavior, it soon becomes clear that only an exorcism can save them, and everyone who comes in contact with them, including unwitting guests, is suddenly at risk of losing their souls. Yeah, I remember that trailer.
I love the trailer. The trailer is awesome. For whatever reason, it's gotten a lot of mixed reviews,
Hmm.
like a lot of mixed comments. Some people are like, "I'll pass," and then some people are loving it and can't wait to see it. I'm excited for it. It is directed by David Gordon Green and executive produced by Danny McBride, the same two people that did the new Halloween trilogy.
I knew it
And they're
sounded
going to make
familiar.
this.
That Gordon Green.
Yeah, yeah. They are making a whole new trilogy from The Exorcist,
Ah,
and it's going to tie into the original Exorcist movie, just like the Halloween movies did. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see where they're going to take this. What's really interesting about this haunted house is that obviously people are going to start to see it August 31st with the employee preview, and then the first day of Horror Nights is September 1st. This movie doesn't come out until October 13th.
yeah. I'm
So
that's weird.
for about a month and a half, people. aren't going to be able to see the movie. They're going to see the house first. So a lot of people are talking, and they're saying, is that going to hurt the house, or like are people going to go into the house and not understand what's going on?
Yeah, I wonder how they're gonna handle the spoilers or like what specifically to to expose.
That that is an issue. Like that. So this has happened before. I believe this has only happened two other times. The other houses that have done this in the past was a movie called Dracula Untold, was a house before it even came out, and then The Wolfman with Anthony Hopkins was also a house before it came out. So apparently those houses were not reviewed well. They didn't go over well because Horror Nights was kind of limited to what they could actually show in the house. And I believe Dracula Untold just didn't even make sense when they walk through it.
Hmm.
So that is a worry about this. And I'm hoping that since this is also Blumhouse that made this, they have worked with Blumhouse before. They have a good partnership with Blumhouse. So maybe Blumhouse is able to kind of give them some leeway on what they can show. Maybe they can show a little bit more. If you watch the trailer, they could literally just go off the trailer. There's enough stuff in the trailer where they can literally make it a walkthrough trailer.
Yeah, I mean, how much of a house do you have to expose to like show a whole movie? I mean, you just need the what it looks like and
Yeah, and people kind of have the idea of this because they've seen the original Exorcist, which, by the way, the original Exorcist movie was a haunted house at HHN26, and that had mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people hated it, mostly because it was literally the same scene over and over again. It was the same room because
yeah.
most of the movie takes place on the bed. This movie, however, judging by the trailer, has a lot more different locations. And I love the Haiti tie-in, or the Haiti like introduction, like where it comes from.
Yeah, that is interesting. That's where like did it ever have an origin, The Exorcist?
I don't believe so, but I haven't seen it in so long. I don't
Yeah.
want to say anything,
Yeah.
but I don't believe so.
The big mess up for the house would be if they had like a scene explicitly like spoiling the movie, like 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 if there's a certain scene in the movie that gives something away, and they like show that perfectly like spelled out in your face in the in the haunted house.
That's the thing. I don't think they would do that, but if they do that, wouldn't that be a big problem? Wouldn't people be
Right?
upset?
Like the designers, they didn't know when it was coming out, and they're like, "Oh no, I am so fired."
No, no, I don't think that they go that far. Um, so one thing I do want to point out, so on the Discover Universal podcast, the official Universal podcast, when
Yeah.
they were talking about all the houses, um, one thing I wrote down was they talked about that in the house we're going to be crossing over into the veil. I don't know if that's going to be in the movie, but where these demons come from, it sounds like we're going to go into their realm.
Whoa. What did you say? The Baal? Baal?
Veil, veil.
Okay. Interesting. Dang. That's like kind of what is it with the old lady? Is it in Insidious or no? Sinis
Oh yeah, Insidious. Yeah, you kind of go into what is that called? The
I
Nether?
forgot. Yeah, maybe
Is
that
it
the
is it the
Nether?
Nether? It's something like that.
I forgot. It's not the Upside Down. It's
I
something
mean,
like that.
kind of like the Upside Down too.
Well, that's it. I wonder what they would do with the demon world. That's cool.
The further. It's called the further.
Further. Yeah.
So yeah, so apparently we're gonna go into like this realm where the demons come from in the house. Now, I don't know if you remember, we did we did walk through the Poltergeist house back in HHN 28.
Yes.
So in that house, the second half of that house, we got to go into the realm where the ghosts come from, which was not in the movie. That was kind of an original part of the house.
Dang. Okay, I
So
forgot.
that's what makes me wonder, is that going to be part of the movie, or did they take what they know from the trailer, put that stuff in, but then make an original part of the house since they can't say too much or show too much.
Oh, that's cool. Some backstory that's not relevant to the main storyline.
Yeah,
Some like lore. I like it.
yeah. I don't know what direction this is gonna go, but I'm excited for this. I'm excited for the movie, and I'm excited for the house. So I uh, I am planning to attend the event the last week as usual. So the movie will be out by then. So I am going to see the movie beforehand before I go to the house. But a lot of people that are going to this event are going to see the house first.
Would you prefer to do it that way, like to avoid spoilers anyway?
I think so. I think I would rather see the movie first and then go see
Yeah,
the haunted house.
I think so too.
But I mean, I have to be honest. If I was there in Orlando, I would go.
Oh yeah,
I yeah, I would be so tempted to see it. I wouldn't wait. No way.
no question. I wanted to ask, that's a good point with the poltergeist and their ghost world, and then here's another house that they could show something that's not in the movie. Has anyone else made that point? Because that's an interesting like parallel, like a correlation, because that would be a good thing to do. Like they've done it before.
I think people have been talking about that. I believe the people have been like speculating and guessing and trying to figure out what they're going to do with this house. So I think that has been said. I don't want to take full credit for that.
Okay, I
Um,
was just curious, like if it was in the zeitgeist already, or like if you're making that like connection, like because that
I mean, I did think of that, but I feel like I've seen people talk about that already.
that's cool. There's a precedent there, so that's a interesting thing to like, because it'd be unexpected, but it's like they've done it before. So
Right,
I like that.
right. All right. So that is the Exorcist house. Super excited for that. That's gonna be dope. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Um, all right, and then we go to the next house, which is gonna be the entrance is gonna be in the Jimmy Fallon queue. You're gonna enter through the Jimmy Fallon queue, and that is gonna be the big dog. That is gonna be Stranger Things 4.
Wow.
Stranger Things 4 is coming to Halloween Horror Nights 32. I mean that is insane. I am insanely excited for this. But I'm gonna go ahead and read the description for it.
Ooh.
Um,
Okay.
so season 4 of Netflix's original series Stranger Things is brought to life in a terrifying all-new haunted house that transports guests to Hawkins, Indiana, where they will be immersed in the eerie upside down for a heart-pounding experience while traveling through iconic scenes. Guests will confront their deepest fears and come face to face with otherworldly creatures like Demobats and even Vecna himself within his blood red mind layer in a race against the clock to escape and save mankind from his deadly curse.
Dang.
Ooh, Stranger Things. I mean, I gotta say, this is my favorite season. Season 1 is great, but after watching season 4 again, it's just so good, and I think it's the best season to make a haunted house out off of. Everyone was expecting this to be a haunted house last year, and I'm so glad that it's here this year.
Can I just
Um,
say 4 words? First thing popped in my head because I didn't even know Stranger Things was coming.
really,
Yeah. So
wow.
let me tell you the
So this
four
is a big
words.
surprise too.
Yeah. So here's my 4 words. First thought. Surfer boy pizza fries. I know we're not talking about food in this one, but that I
I
mean,
mean,
just throw some pineapple on there. There you go.
I don't know why they wouldn't do that. I
Right
feel
there.
like they should do that. So small spoiler for the food episode, there is already a Surfer Boy Pizza food booth
Woo!
set up ready to go
Of course there
in the
is.
park.
What?
Yes.
There better be.
So they have done a food preview, and it's just a preview. There's more food to come, but as of now, there's only this kind of pizza bread thing that's going to be at the Surfer Boy Pizza. But I feel like there has to be pizza fries there. I mean, it
Dude,
would make most sense. And of course, if they add the pineapple to it,
it's
that's going to be
stoner food. And who is it that works at the server? It's the stoner. You gotta
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
maybe secret menu it. Do that. That'd be cool.
All right, but we got to save that discussion for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
food
yeah.
episode, though. Okay,
Yeah, there's
so
a lot there.
uh, Stranger Things 4. I mean, let's talk about Vecna. I mean, Vecna is definitely going to be a huge part of this house. I mean, are they going to do the whole like the people floating up in the air and being crushed and all their bones like mangled
Woo!
and stuff? Like, I
Oh
mean,
man, that'd be cool. The breaking bodies.
if they don't do the scene with Eddie on top of the trailer and the Demobats like surrounding him and doing the Metallica thing,
Yeah.
like that has to be in the house, right? I mean, there's just so much to go off of this season. But anyway, I mean, this season is just perfect for a haunted house, and I'm so excited for this. So the year that we went in HHN 28 was the first year they brought Stranger Things, and it was season 1. That was such a great house. That
Yeah.
was a, no pun intended, universally loved house.
I g- I
However, the
I just
following
got that.
year, HHN 29, we missed, and that year they did a house for season 2 and season 3. Apparently, it was not a good house. And they mostly did season 2 and did just a little bit of season 3, which people said it should have been flopped. There was more things to do as a house if it was season 3.
Mm.
And a lot of complaints for that house was there was a lot of mannequins versus real scare actors
Yeah.
for whatever reason. So hopefully they learned their lesson from that, and they actually do a better job with this, because I feel like they should not ruin this opportunity. Season 4
Yeah.
is so great.
Yeah, and this is gonna be their one like kickoff ramp to like stay relevant for a while. They better be, go off with a bang, you know?
Oh yeah, because I mean,
It's gonna
season
be a
5 is
while.
probably,
Yeah.
yeah, season 5 is probably not coming out till like at least 2025, and it's probably going to be 2026 to be honest here.
Yeah. So
So
this is
there's
gonna
going to
be
be
it.
some time gap between the next house if they do another house.
But yeah, they gotta make it count.
Yeah. So yeah. Any other or any last comments for this? Like
Yes.
anything you want to see?
Yes.
Or
I want some weird gravity nonsense happening. I want some roof holes. I want cheerleaders bending into little crumples. I want
oh yeah, yeah.
I want melted bodies. Just why not? Yeah. I know that's the last season with the rats, but I like it still. I want to see that. Just throw in a melty body. I'll be happy.
I mean, I feel like they have to. Like they have to throw in that stuff.
Yeah.
The excitement for this is real. It's crazy that they're able to get this along with the other IPs with Exorcist, and then the next one we're going to be talking about here in a little while. Or there's two more actually that we're going to be talking about that are big. Um, this is just a crazy year for
I
IPs.
hope
The fact that they
I hope
got,
no one I hope no one harasses Vecna. Everyone's in love with the guy.
oh gosh,
The internet has a
oh
huge
yeah. So they're
crush.
probably going to have the
Guards?
human Vecna, whatever his name was,
Yeah. Uh,
in the house possibly.
Jamie, whatever, the actor, I forgot
Yeah.
his. They're gonna be ripping off vines off of the guy. I mean, that's what they used to do to Chuck E. Cheese. That's why he doesn't have a tail anymore. The kids would rip his tail off. They're gonna be doing that to Vecna, but with his vines, dude.
Oh gosh. Yeah. To be fair, people, really horrible people, grab things and rip them off the walls at horror nights. So
And
toward the end of
now,
the event, there's always things missing.
and now you got a guy full of handles. You better be ready. They're gonna take him.
Oh god. Yeah. Please don't touch the scare actors, people.
They're gonna crowd surf him away. No more Vecna, no more actor.
All right. So that is Stranger Things 4. Heck yeah.
Vecna, heck yeah.
All right. So next house is interesting, man. It's this is a first for Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay, I'm trying not to look.
You get the honor of reading it, but I will tell you more about it once you're done reading it. All right, so yeah, the next house is Dueling Dragons: Choose Thy Fate.
Okay.
So this will be located It's going to be one of the entrances, kind of between the tribute store and Jimmy Fallon.
All right, Dueling Dragons. Choose thy fate. Well, first impression of Dueling Dragons don't sound too good, but let's check it out. Sounds like a sword
Yeah.
fight. Okay. The great wizard Merlin has been transformed into the enchanted oak, leaving a power vacuum. That's Merlin with a Y, by the way. When two
Mhm.
powerful warlocks invade his castle to steal his spellbook, they are turned into dragons of fire and ice. Now guests are caught in the middle of their battle and are forced to choose a path and a victor. But beware, one never knows who will win in Dueling Dragons. Choose thy fate. Okay. Um, so two little thieves got turned into dragons and they're still fighting. Okay.
There's way more to this, so check this out.
Oh,
It's very interesting. So not only is this like the first time they're doing kind of a fantasy haunted house, it seems very fantasy. I'm
yeah.
sure there's going to be still horror aspects to it, but it seems like a fantasy type of idea. Now, however, this is based off a ride at Islands of Adventure that does not exist anymore.
Oh.
It was a roller coaster called Dueling Dragons, and it was actually part of the Lost Continent before Harry Potter was there. So Lost Continent actually extended to where Harry Potter was, and that section was called Merlinwood.
Okay.
And whenever Harry Potter came in, they actually kept Dueling Dragons there for a little while, and they just themed it more to Harry Potter.
Okay. Yeah,
They called it
dragons.
the Dragon Challenge, is what they renamed it to once Harry Potter was there. But now they tore it down, and now Hagrid's roller coaster is there.
All right.
This is the first time in HHN history that they are making a haunted house off of a ride that is no longer there. It's mostly going to be based off the queue, the line of this old ride. So apparently, the queue itself of this ride was kind of like a haunted house. It was very themed,
Okay.
and the dueling dragons thing. The it was two different tracks that would go at the same time. One track was fire, one track was ice. So that's kind of what this is.
Someone fought for this ride. Someone was like, they tried really hard to get this made, and here it is.
Yeah,
Someone, someone was in.
the fact that this was even an idea thrown on the table is
Yeah.
amazing. Whenever Horror Night Nightmares put this on the speculation map, a lot of people were saying that there was no way this was happening, and if it was happening, it wasn't going to be called Dueling Dragons.
Yeah,
It
this
was
was
just going
like
to be
the
like
first.
a haunted house based off of the idea, and it would just be named something else.
Yeah, this is
It
one of
is
the most
actually named
obvious
Dueling
depots.
Dragons. It is insane that it's named Dueling Dragons, just like the
Yeah.
ride.
Someone won some bets, huh?
I'm sure. I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
So let me read you the backstory.
All
Um,
right.
this house takes place right after the original ride's storyline, after Merlin had been turned into the Enchanted Oak. Two warlocks from the ride, Blizzrock and Pyrock, which is the two dragons, traveled to Merlin's castle.
That's before they're dragons, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Wouldn't that suck if the ice name and the fire name they got the wrong dragon? Because their names are very themed towards fire and ice. So it'd be ironic if they swapped. Okay, sorry, go on.
That's all right. So two warlocks from the ride, Blizzrock and Pyrock, travel to Merlin's castle, and in order to fight for control over his now unguarded spellbook, which is witnessed in the house, they would travel through the fairy forest, eventually reaching Merlin's castle. When both of them reached the spellbook, it is revealed that Merlin put a spell on the book. The spell turns them into dragons, and they continue the battle anyway, while guests are going through the crumbling castle. So
Hmm.
a lot of people are saying that this queue was very scenic and very pretty. So a lot of people are expecting a lot of those things to be in the house. There's a lot of apparently iconic things that were in this line, this queue line, that people are expecting to be in this house. And a lot of people are recommending to go on YouTube to check out some old walkthroughs of the line to kind of get ready for the house if you never got to walk through it, because I never did. Here's another thing we haven't talked about: what's going to happen in this house. I believe this has happened once, and this was in the very early days of Horror Nights. I can't tell you exactly when. I believe it was a Fright-tanic house that did it. It was like a horror version of the Titanic.
Mm,
Apparently, this house, literally, you choose thy fate. Nobody knows how it's going to happen, but apparently there is going to be a split somewhere where you get to
cool.
choose where to go. Nobody knows if this is going to be just two separate small houses or if it's going to split at the very end of the house where you literally choose how it's going to end or which of the two wins, fire or ice. I'm going to go with the latter. I think probably there's just going to be one house, and at the very end, it's going to have just a small fork where it's going to have one room different on each side. And apparently, there's going to be four different endings. Each path that you take is going to have two separate endings, two different wins.
Okay.
So
So it splits.
yeah, so that's pretty unique right there. Not only is this like a very random fantasy haunted house that's based off of a ride that doesn't exist anymore, this is a house that's going to have two different ways that you get to go, that you get to pick. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's unique. They're trying something.
Could this backfire on them?
Yeah, it could flop, but I
Well,
don't know.
like giving people the option to go their own way, could that slow down the line, you know?
Yeah, what if it gets clogged on one's path?
Who knows? So a lot of people have this on top of their hype list, and some people have it at the bottom. I'm not sure where I have it. I really don't know how I feel about this house because this could be just a big flop, or it could be amazing. It could be a beautiful house. It could be very entertaining. I don't know if it's going to be scary. I don't know how this would be scary, but
Do you think it would clog on one path, or do you think the two paths would make it faster? You know, because it
I think there's a
splits.
possibility that it could clog, like from people trying to decide which way to go. Like it's going to cause this
Uh,
backup.
that's true.
I,
The slowdown in the decision making.
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Hmm.
I would assume there's going to be people there. There's going to be team members there, kind of guiding them to kind of keep it moving.
Yeah, maybe let's just
But
take turns this way, that way.
it's an experiment. I guess they're trying something new. They're going to see if it works, and I guess they'll find out. So I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
ready to check it out. I think it's gonna be cool.
yeah. That's more of a thinker than like a hype train. It's like a experiment.
All right, so on to the next. So the next house, Yeti Campground Kills. In a 1950s campground, a group of towering, terrifying Yetis are running rampant, ripping apart campers, rangers, and anyone else who gets in their way. In Yeti Campground Kills, guests must flee through the campground into cabins, a bait shack, and even the outhouse in hopes of making it to the ranger tower before it's too late. So, out of all the original houses, I think this is the one I'm most excited for. I think this is something that could work. It's going to be basically a Bigfoot house in the woods, kind of going after some camp counselors or campers. This is actually a sequel to a very loved house back in HHN 29 that we missed.
I remember something about a Yeti. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Yeti Terror of the Yukon, and that was one that took place up in the mountains in the snow. So apparently, this one still takes place in the mountains, but it's going to be in the Rocky Mountains. The first thing that started this was a house that we saw, which was Slaughter Cinema.
Yeah.
It was the one that had, multiple little B horror movie ideas, and it was actually
Okay.
the last one of the house. It was Attack of the Swamp Yeti. That was kind of a favorite part of the house, so they took that and they made a Yeti house.
So the Yukon one, that's based on or inspired by the poster in the cinema, whatever.
It was inspired. It was inspired off of that room, that movie idea. The Universal podcast talked about how it's kind of a running joke how they keep calling these houses Yeti, although none of them are Yetis apparently. So the first one was Attack of the Swamp Yeti, which was actually a swamp ape.
Okay.
Uh, the Terror of the Yukon house was Sasquatch apparently, and then this house is Bigfoot. but yet they still call them all Yetis.
Sasquatch and Bigfoot are distinct.
Yeah, they're technically different. Yeah, different
I did not
regions. I
know that.
think different cultures. I think.
Interesting. No Yetis yet.
So I think this house could be really fun. I think it's going to be campy. Ha.
Haha.
Um,
Ew.
I think it might be kind of a comedy house in a way, just because 1950s camp counselors, Bigfoot. I feel like it's going to be sort of funny in a way.
Yeah. That'll be cool.
I wonder, since it's going to take place in a forest, is it going to smell kind of piney, like pine woods? Maybe. Hold on. What if it smells like the ET ride in there?
Yeah. Just go scoop some of that ET juice, put it in the Yeti.
I don't know. I would think that they would kind of pump some pine woodsy smell into this, very similar to the ET ride. So that'll be kind of cool.
That's the power of pine sol, baby. You know what I'm hoping? I mean, it's a it's like a summer camp style, so I'm hoping for some like summer camp, kills, like the sneak up behind the campfire and like the split in half and stuff like that.
Oh, dude. I mean, I would have put it past them to do something like that. I hope they do something like that. In the Yukon house, there was plenty of deaths similar to that, where I think there were lumberjacks or something. Uh, Again, I never saw the house, but I believe the people that the Yetis were attacking were lumberjacks, and they would brutally tear them apart.
Awesome.
So, by the way, this house is going to be right next to the entrance of Dueling Dragons, so they're going to be kind of side by side, right in between the Jimmy Fallon building and the tribute store building.
Some competition. You might
Yeah.
say they'll be dueling.
Yeah. Any other last comment or hopes for this house?
I just want some classic by the lake murders. Maybe some scat throwing.
God.
There should be a splash zone in the haunted
Oh
house.
God, they're gonna have if they have a scat poop smell. Oh God.
Hey, or like mini brownies for the food. Sorry, I keep talking about food.
They do have a bloody snowball treat for this house that they
Hey,
have revealed.
that's cool. But I want some Yeti
Yeah.
fudge. Some poop.
So one thing I forgot to mention, the Universal podcast said that there will not only be, your average Yeti, there will be Yeti families. There will also be baby Yetis in this house.
Is there like a whole Yeti division of the park, like the house designers? They're like, this is the Yeti team. We put a lot of thought into this. We put it all years in the making. This is our Super Bowl. The Yeti team.
Yeah, every so many years they get to come out and
All right, dust off your helmets. Come on.
yeah, come back and do another Yeti house.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, it's our
Oh
time.
God, people are gonna turn off our podcast. We're gonna get canceled.
No, they're gonna extrapolate. This is the lore now. This is true facts.
Oh gosh. But yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people are excited to see baby Yetis.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll have toys, right? Yeti toys.
What are they going to be carved out like trees, like carved out sticks and stuff?
No, it could just be a stuffed Yeti. That'd be cool.
Oh, so they have their own convenience stores, or they go and buy toys? What?
I'm
What are you
saying for
talking
the
about?
merch, dude. Not. I'm not talking.
Oh! I thought you mean the actual Yetis in the house are going to be
No,
the babies are going to be carrying toys.
you're too in it. You're too in the lore right now. No,
I could see,
merch.
I could see that happening. A lot of
Yeah,
people are saying this could be the new Lil Boo,
yeah.
possibly. Although Lil Boo is already on some of the merch this year, um, they brought that back still. Some of the merch is actually cool, and I'm okay with it. But either way, they should have some Yeti merch. I would be down for that.
Yeah. This is gonna be a good one. I think it sounds good.
Yeah, I'm
Promising.
ready for it. Uh, by the way, it is storming outside right now, so if you hear noise in the background, I apologize. It is raining. All right. So that is the last soundstage house that is at the event. So these are all five of those that we just talked about are going to be in sound stages. So those are going to be the most grand, the biggest houses basically because they get the soundstage venues. So a lot of times those get a lot more scenic, bigger rooms, stuff like that. So I'm excited for all of them. So next up, we are going to walk through New York and into the San Francisco area to the Fast and Furious queue line because now they are having houses there, just like last year. Last year was Blumhouse. This year it is going to be
Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. Inspired by the hit USA and sci-fi series and cult classic films, Chucky Ultimate Kill Count casts this killer doll as the star of his very own haunted house for the first time. First time? That's crazy.
We'll talk about that later. Keep going.
Okay, a true. He's gonna be pissed about that, Chucky.
Oh, we'll talk about that. We'll keep
Okay.
keep going.
A true sadistic killer, Chucky has been mired in the agony of disrespect he feels from his peers at not being taken seriously. Yeah. Thus begins his quest to turn his haunted house into a living slaughterhouse by killing every person who enters. Meta. I like it. It's
Okay.
meta.
Okay, check this out. I'm so glad you caught on to the meta-ness because there's more to it.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready. Sounds very
Check this
interactive.
out.
Okay.
Check this out. This got me so excited for this Chucky house. First of all, before I get into it, there has been a Chucky house before. So whoever wrote that description, I don't know if that was on purpose or if that was intended to piss off Chucky because it's meta. I have no idea. But there has been a Chucky house before. And he's also been at the event multiple times with his scare zone and all that. But
Yeah, for
that
sure.
said, this is his first house. Not true at all. So Universal Podcast went more in depth about this, and it got me extremely excited. So basically, last year at HHN31 on the last day, which was Halloween, they announced that Chucky was coming to Horror Nights next year.
That's right.
Right? Okay. Basically, they wanted to make a haunted house for Chucky, so they decided to tell Chucky to come in and have him as advertisement and use him in the ads and the commercials and stuff. So he was going to be doing all the marketing. So they basically hired him to come in to do the marketing, right?
Yeah.
Well, once he saw the haunted house, he was not happy with it because there was no kills. So basically, he was offended by this, and he goes and kills all the team members that make this haunted house. That made the haunted house.
How are they
And then he
releasing these this news? This is like supposedly really happening, like they're interacting with the real Chucky. So how are they releasing this information? Like tragic news, our team, the Chucky team has been killed by Chucky, or like how are they how
so far it's only on this Universal podcast where they talk
oh the
about this.
podcast.
Basically, everyone's going to find out in the house.
Okay.
So yeah, he is not happy with the house because there is no
Yeah.
deaths in it, basically. So he goes and he starts killing the actual team members that are creating the house. And then he possesses all the props and the toys of the house and brings them to life. So super meta. Like
Yeah.
this is something that they never done before either. This is crazy. This is awesome. Very unique because everyone was saying that this was going to be based off the show, and it does say in the description that it's based off the show, which could be true for the first part of the house, possibly whenever there's no deaths. But
Yeah.
then once Chucky finds out, it could go completely batshit crazy. And here's my theory: is it's in the Fast and Furious queue. So last year there was two different sections of it. Last year was Blumhouse. One section was Freaky. The other section was Black Phone. So the first part was in the actual queue line of the ride, and then you would go out a door outside, and there was no theming once you went outside. And then you would turn a corner, and right there was an entrance to a tent. So the house kept going. There was just kind of a little break in between.
Weird. Okay.
If that's the case, if they still do it that way this year, I bet you anything the first part of the house in the queue line is going to be the house that didn't have deaths, where Chucky finds out and starts getting pissed off, right?
Yeah.
And then the second half is where it's gonna go.
Like this is this is real now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be the actual ultimate kill count. This was probably toward the bottom of my list as far as the hype of all the houses go. But when I heard about this, about what it actually was going to be,
Yeah.
it jumped up. Like this is cool.
Yeah, they're like breaking rules. They're messing with reality.
I don't know if they ever had a meta house before.
Yeah, I don't know. I
And
was thinking like,
Chucky,
you know that the house with all the fake movies? Do they have they ever done a house of the movies? Because it sounded like they got close with that Yeti, but that was just inspired by it. It wasn't a direct like one of those is a house now, in its full respect. Any of those fake movies like get their own house? Because that would be in the realm of meta, just because it's a fictional thing inside a house. But yeah, Chucky's going full meta right here.
no, I don't think they've actually done any other references to it besides Yeti Terror of the Yukon, which wasn't a direct house based off of that. It was just like a spin off of it.
Chucky's one of those that it's like its own thing. It's like another not a subgenre of horror, but it's like one of those pockets that has its own style and humor, you know? Like it doesn't
Yeah,
take itself too seriously. It's like Scream has its self-aware, self-acknowledging kind of thing, and then Chucky is kind of ridiculous. Like I said, it has its own pocket of the horror realm, and like it takes up its own space.
I think it's absolutely perfect for a meta house, basically.
Yeah, he can carry it. He has the character.
All right, so the next house we're actually gonna go. So in between the Fear Factor stage and the Men in Black ride, this house is one of the two tents that are on the right side of the Men in Black ride. You just have to walk all the way around now. All right, so we are at Dr. Oddfellow Twisted Origins. In the 1930s Dust Bowl era, guests won't be able to resist going inside Dr. Oddfellow's menacing menagerie of twisted oddities, where they'll encounter grotesquely distorted animals and freakish fiends. In Dr. Oddfellow Twisted Origins, the price to enter this creepy caravan is steep as souls feed his immortal power. So, this house is the Icon's house. This is the new icon for this year, Dr. Oddfellow. What's really cool is Dr. Oddfellow has been part of HHN lore for a long time. There just hasn't been a whole lot of information on him. He is actually part of the origin story of Jack the Clown. So I believe back in 2000, the first time Jack appeared at the event, he was part of the story. Apparently, Jack the Clown was part of his circus, his little circus, traveling circus act. There wasn't a whole lot of information at the time of what happened, but Dr. Oddfellow ended up killing Jack and stuffing him into a Jack in the Box. Later on, the abandoned carnival was found, the Jack in the Box was found, it was opened, and Jack's corpse was in it. And that's how he came back to life, was they discovered his body. So he's basically like a ringleader for this circus, right? And from what
Okay.
I can get from the Universal podcast, there's so much backstory to this, and it's not only this house. Every scare zone this year is tied into him. So we're going to talk about that later. But for now, we'll talk about this house. And so basically, what I got from it is this takes place in the 1930s Dust Bowl era, and this is his traveling circus. But the house is this. It's based off of this late after show that he's promoting that he wants people to come see. That's like it's not the actual like main circus show. It's like the late after hours show, and you even will enter through like a back area of the tent, and you like enter through like going under the bleachers. Is what I was
Cool.
kind of understanding. And when you enter the tent, you start to encounter all the circus acts and kind of like freak show acts that are in this circus. But then all the acts start to murder people. And the whole reason that he is trying to bring people to this after hours show is it's kind of a setup to absorb and take everyone's soul to become immortal. His goal is to become immortal because he apparently found a cane that is called the Cane of Souls, and using that, he pretty much gathers everybody's souls using this after hours freak show circus tent. He will apparently twist and break us using the power of the Zodiac. So, what they said on the podcast was that Jack will make a cameo in this house, but as kind of a silhouette scene. So, you will actually get to see the fight that happened between them and how Jack died. Um,
Whoa.
so, so apparently during the fight, Jack cuts Dr. Oddfellow's face. Thus, his blood starts to drip onto Jack as he was dying in the fight. And because of that, because Dr. Oddfellow was already becoming immortal, his blood spilled onto Jack. Thus, they both became immortal that night.
What, they fused or what?
I don't know if they fused, but like because his blood dripped onto Jack, that is the reason why he is also immortal.
That's cool.
But yeah, after this whole fight, when Jack was killed, Oddfellow stuffed him into the Jack in the Box, and then that is the story of how he got into HHN 10 back in 2000. That's how that started. But this is kind of the backstory about how all that happened. This is pretty cool because we're actually finally getting to know who Dr. Oddfellow was because there wasn't much on him, and none of this has been revealed beforehand. So this is all new stuff story wise. And yeah, you get to learn how Dr. Oddfellow became immortal. And like I said, he's also tied into all the scare zones. And the scare zones also tell a story of his origin story in a way. It's all connected, which is really cool. But again, we'll discuss that.
Is there like a certain order to do the scare zones and then the house?
Yes. Yes, there
Okay.
is.
I'm sure there would be.
So I think this could be awesome. It's a circus. Like I said, it's in one of the tents, one of the tent venues. I hope at night they put like a projection of like a tent onto the actual tent, so it's not like plain. It
Oh,
actually looks like a circus tent or something.
yeah, that'd be cool. Seems like the rivalry is established. So he has like the origin with the top dog, so that's going for him. You know, it's a good way to establish a new guy is like tacking him onto the popular dude. So smart move.
I don't know. I think this is gonna be cool. It's a really cool original. It's something to tie into this year's icon. It's so cool that we're finally getting another original icon. The last
Yeah.
time there was an original icon was HHN 21. Sorry. Last time there was a new original icon was HHN 21 with Lady Luck.
Okay.
It has been 12 to 13 years since there's been a new icon established.
I'm into it. I like the guy.
All right, then. Well, we're going to go ahead and pop over next door to the tent next door, which is actually apparently the entrance is going to be to the right side of Men in Black. And this is the Darkest Deal. That's another original house.
The Darkest Deal. In the Mississippi Delta, blues musician Pine Straw Spruce, cool, meets at a crossroads with the diabolical entity known as the Collector to make a deal. His soul for musical glory. Guests will witness his big break performing for a crowd before the Collector drags him to Hades with the other musicians who learned the terrible price of fame in The Darkest Deal. Oh, The Darkest Deal. Um,
I don't know
that
what
sounds
that
like a
was.
classic, the devil versus. I
Exactly.
was putting some spice on it,
Exactly, though.
but yeah,
This is kind of a spin on like the devil went down to Georgia or like a crossroads demon.
yeah,
Um, Whenever
Tenacious
this
D.
was exactly, a lot of people have thrown that together too, kind of like Tenacious D as well. So back when this was just a rumored house on the HNN's spec map, it was basically Devil Went Down to Georgia House. So it is very um, similar to that type of story where a musician ends up at a crossroads and makes a deal with a demon or the devil, and becomes famous. But then
Yeah.
there's consequences. So with this house, a lot of people are saying they don't really know how it's going to translate, which I kind of agree with them. I don't know how, especially a house in a tent in one of the smaller venues, how they're going to establish a musician that performs at a concert and then gets to a crossroads, encounters the demon. Also, are we going to end up in hell at the end?
You better, right? If you're doing this story, you better.
Right. There's so with this one, there's just not a whole lot to go off of. There's kind of just a lot of guessing with this house.
Who
What's
do you
that?
think they're gonna throw in the hell scene? Elvis and let's see,
Oh, whoa, whoa!
Whitney Houston. I don't know.
I don't think they're gonna use
Yeah,
actual names, man. Oh,
they're
jeez.
gonna
There's gonna
they're
be
gonna rent from a
rip-offs of
wax
people.
museum. Yeah, they're gonna take the wax museum figures, and then since it's hell, they're gonna melt in before your eyes. It's
Jesus
gonna be
Christ!
awesome,
Jesus Christ!
and they're gonna be screaming the whole time. Ah, yes.
Oh, I hope people are still listening after that.
I'd be traumatized by melting celebrities that I love.
I mean, that would be very interesting, but I do not think they're gonna go that route. But
I,
that
for
is,
one, would be moved.
yeah. So anyway, this could be a house that is awesome, or it could be one of those stinker, or it's like mostly at the bottom of everybody's list. I have no idea. A lot of people don't know. They don't know what to think of it. Nobody can picture exactly what it's going to be like versus the other ones. You can kind of get an idea of them. This one's kind of up in the air, but kind of a
Hmm.
cool idea.
It seems kind of tame. I hope
It
they
it does a
I
little
hope
bit.
they ramp it up.
So there is backstory on the wiki page. It says the story would begin in a Mississippi Delta, where up and coming blues musician Pine Straw Spruce. What a name, by the way.
I know. He must be tall.
Pine Straw Spruce, excuse me, would come
He
across a
better be a tall guy.
crossroads. So there he would encounter a mysterious entity called the Collector, who offers him a deal. The Collector would offer Pine Straw musical fame and glory in exchange for his soul. Pine Straw would accept his offer and would go on to be a smashing success, playing in a variety of different juke joints and bars. Throughout his rise and fall, the Collector would follow Pine Straw in order to ensure his debt would eventually be paid. At one point, he would possess a bar patron to speak through them in order to make his presence known. At the end of the house, Pine Straw would wind up in hell, meeting other musicians who also learned the terrible price of fame. So it looks like we are going to end up in hell at the end of the house.
Hey, you had me at juke joints. I don't know what that is, but I'm in. It must be like a dance floor, like diner situation.
I've heard a lot of people kind of throw out the idea that the Collector could also be Dr. Oddfellow. If he is, that would be more like
Okay.
he's connected to everything in HHN, even the houses, and somehow.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's possible, but I don't know if they're going to go that far. But we shall see. After reading the backstory, it sounds pretty cool. So now I'm picturing like the actual bar, and like he keeps appearing as different people, like he's possessing people, and he's like
You know what
following.
else?
What's up?
Juke joints sounds 50s era, and there's another like 50s house, right?
Well, yeah. So all these Doctor Oddfellow stories, they all take place. I think it starts in the 20s is one of the scare zones, and it goes to the 30s, the 40s, and then the 60s.
Aha. And then the 80s, Stranger Things.
That would be funny. Oh
There
wow,
you
if they
go.
connect it that way. I mean, this has to take place back when I'm thinking juke joints and bars could be the 50s because that's the decade that's not in the scare zones or any of the houses. Yeah. So who knows? I mean, if it's all connected, that'd be really awesome. You know, if the collector is in fact Dr. Oddfellow, he's just controlling every
Yeah,
part of HHN32.
he's got his fingers in a bunch of pies. Is that the saying? Like you got your thumb in that pie over there.
That's
He's
going to
got
be
a
a.
lot of pies.
With that said, we are going down to the last two haunted houses for HHN32, and these are going to be in the parade buildings. However, because Kid Zone has now been demolished and is being constructed into the new DreamWorks part of the park, little DreamWorks land that they're building. There's a lot of construction there, so
Oh,
they can't put both entrances there, but apparently there's going to be one entrance according to HNN's new map. Um, but one of the entrances to the parade building is now going to be beside the Darkest Deal entrance, kind of in between the Men in Black bathrooms and that Coca-Cola Freestyle building. So there's going to be another entrance there, but that one's going to be going to the parade building. And that is going to be another big IP for the year. And I can't believe they were able to get this and Stranger Things in the same year. It
is
is
it what I think?
it is absolutely crazy. It is, drumroll please,
Drum, 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 drum,
The
drum.
Last of Us.
I thought it was that one. That's the one I thought that it was gonna be, and it is.
Yes, it
Yes.
is. It is The Last of Us. I mean, before we get to the description here, I feel like as of now, Stranger Things and The Last of Us are like the biggest movie TV show IPs at the moment. Like they're one of the biggest things right now, like the biggest shows, right?
Yeah, they popped off.
And they were
Yeah,
able to get them
they.
both for this year. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
I feel like this year is going to be very busy crowds because of those two big IPs.
Do you think The Last of Us, if it had come a year after this, it would still be huge, right? Because it's still kind of recent.
Oh yeah, and the video
So
game's
like
always
the
going to
fact
be.
that it's, yeah, yeah.
So this is actually based off the video game and not the show, but it's kind of the same thing no matter what. I mean, they're pretty similar. They go pretty much note for note.
Yeah, that's interesting though.
All right, so
Specifically the game.
mhm. All right, so The Last of Us. For the first time ever, Naughty Dog and PlayStation's award-winning post-pandemic video game, The Last of Us, comes to life in an all-new haunted house that propels guests into an obstacle course of carnage and mayhem as they join a brutal journey in a world overtaken by a fungal virus that turns humans into various forms of a new threat known as the Infected. Guests will find themselves navigating iconic locations from the video game in a desperate attempt to escape and survive.
Oh man.
Whew. It's The Last of Us, and it's in a parade building, which is a decent sized venue. It's the second biggest type of venue besides the sound stages. I think they're going to go all out for this and doing the clickers and all that. I mean,
Yes.
there's
And
scenes in that video game where they're like it's in a dark like office building or something, and there's the creatures like roaming around. You can't see them. Like, what if that's part of the house? I mean, that was one of the scariest parts of the game for me.
uh
I mean,
there's gonna be
oh
stuff just out of sight.
yeah, and then they also confirmed that bloaters will be part of the house. Uh,
Of course.
and I know that the special effects makeup department or whatever is going to go all out for this, and it's going to be
Oh
great.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, yeah, look how well it translated from the game to the show. Like it
mm,
translates very well. It's awesome.
there is a very cool food option for The Last of Us that,
Oh,
that looks cool, but
I hope it's cannibal stuff.
we're gonna talk about that on the food show.
Oh man. Okay, yeah. I'm ready for that food episode. That'd be cool.
All right, yeah, that's The Last of Us. I mean, there's really not a whole lot to say except it's gonna be freaking awesome. I'm so excited for it. It's a big IP to have alongside Stranger Things. Like, and The Exorcist and Chucky. It's just a crazy year for
Wait, was
IPs.
that it? Was that all of it?
No, there's one more house.
Oh, I thought you were gonna save the best for Last of Us.
Jesus. Sorry, no, we're going in order of the houses.
Dang it.
All right, so last but not least, this is a really cool one. I'm very excited for it. I love this franchise. I love that they keep doing this every year, and this one sounds really freaking awesome. The Universal Monsters are back. It is Universal
Nice.
Monsters Unmasked, and this is going to be in the old parade building, and the entrance will be located where the old kid zone is. Looks like it's going to go through the ETQ and out through the back. So
Monsters. Yes. Okay. Universal Monsters Unmasked. The dank catacombs of Paris ooh, house a much darker secret 60 feet beneath the bustling streets as the all-new haunted house, Universal Monsters Unmasked, takes guests down into the infamous burial grounds where every corner and crevice overflows with millions of skeletal remains and even more sinister secrets. Deep within the catacombs, Universal's most notorious creatures, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, Dr. Jekyll and his deranged alternate personality, Mr. Hyde, and Dr. Jack Griffin, aka the Invisible Man, lie in wait as they bide their time and seek vengeance against guests after the opening of the catacombs to public visitation. These desperate and dangerous fiends have become filled with a rage towards guests navigating the twisted tunnels of their underground labyrinth home. So they all became roommates. That's nice. They
it
found
sound
affordable housing.
sounds kind of like that. But I mean, how cool is this? It's going to take place in the Paris catacombs,
Yeah.
and this is like some like underrated monsters that they're putting into this house. It's no longer Dracula, Wolfman.
Yeah, it's the B team now. I like it.
It's straight up the B team. It's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Invisible Man. I mean, that
Oh,
sounds
that's gonna be cool. I'm ready for some invisible shenanigans.
so. There has been a running joke every year with the Universal Monster houses that the Invisible Man has been in every house.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I really hope that this is not just going to be in the Paris catacombs, although I'm really excited about that because you could do so much with like the Phantom of the Opera, like at
Yeah.
an opera house, or the Hunchback.
Hey, the acoustics off the bone. Yeah. Imagine a wall made of bone. Echo, echo. That would sound great. Sorry, humans. I feel
But
like I was gonna say something.
well, what I was going to say is that every year these Universal Monster houses are awesome. They're always one of the top houses, and
Yeah, that's like home field, you know?
mhm. and again, I think they keep bringing these back not only because everyone loves them and they're good, is because this is also kind of promotion for Epic Universe because there is going to be a Universal Monsters Land at Epic Universe. So this is kind of getting everybody ready for it, possibly. Okay, let me just check this page. So there's a short story description. It says after the events of their own respective movies, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and the Invisible Man are on the run from the law and flee to Paris. They enter the Paris catacombs and cause chaos along with the Phantom of the Opera and the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
So they were already there, I guess.
Yeah, those two characters take place in Paris already. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess he moved since the Notre Dame burned down, remember recently?
oh
He
yeah.
moved to the catacombs.
Oh no.
He's like, "Oh, my home. I gotta live down here now with the bones." Poor guy.
All right. That, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the houses for HHN32. What a freaking lineup. There's just no way you can miss this year. This year is just, it seems like so much fun. It's got so much going on, and we haven't even covered the scare zones yet. So, and like I said, they are all tied to Dr. Oddfellow, which is really freaking cool. So what I suggest we do is how they recommended doing the scare zones, and that is actually going counterclockwise. So we're just going to go back the way we came, basically. But we're going to start at the front of the park, and that is going to be Dr. Oddfellow's Collection of Horror. So this is going to be the very first thing that you see when you walk into the park. And this is normally the scare zone that's kind of a tease of the rest of the event. And that's what the Universal podcast said. They admitted that these are usually kind of like teasing what's going to happen in the other parts of the event, which is fine. Now, what's different about this year with this? Well, let me read the description first. Dr. Oddfellow will lure guests into Halloween Horror Nights with a promise of immortality. As he lifts the veil on all the horrors to come, they'll soon realize they may not even survive the night. All right, so the location of this front scare zone has changed just slightly. So usually this first scare zone is in between Minion Mayhem and what used to be Shrek 4D. So they did just complete Minion Land. And so since they just opened that, people are speculating that they didn't want to just suddenly put a bunch of Halloween stuff blocking a bunch of things when they literally just grand opened this stuff at the beginning of this month, I believe, beginning of August. So they have pushed this scare zone back closer to the gates, right in front of the Universal store is where the scare zone is going to be. So it's going to be immediately as soon as you walk into the park.
Wow. Yeah, that's like right there.
So
It's in front of the.
they have already started construction, and right in front of what used to be the Betty Boop and Hello Kitty store, it's now another kind of Universal merch store. Right in front of there, they put one of those like traveling carts, kind of like you would see at a traveling show, traveling circus. And there's kind of a little lip that comes out of it, like a little stage. So it's pretty obvious that that is where Doctor Oddfellow is going to be, kind of luring people into the event as people are walking in.
Makes sense.
And as far as the collection of horror, again, it's going to be a tease of what's going to be around the event. So this is all the collection of his monsters that he has throughout the event. So nothing too crazy.
Gotcha.
All right, so we are going to go ahead and take a right as you get into the park. I'm going to go into Hollywood, and that scare zone is going to be Dark Zodiac.
Dr. Oddfellow has entered a dark dimension to harness the power of the Zodiac and live forever. He twists the signs into malevolent beings who foretold one's doom. As his star rises, yours falls. Okay, so it sounds like it's gonna mess with your Zodiac, whatever signs.
Yeah,
I guess people will be into that.
there is people talking how there's going to be just dark versions of everybody's Zodiac,
I'm a
and
Virgo, but I'm not really into that stuff.
I'm
What are you? Do you know?
I'm a Scorpio.
What's your sign? Scorpio. Okay.
So there's going to be like scorpion people in there.
Maybe. Yeah. Like goat, mermaids, and crabs. But spooky.
Really disturbing looking.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
So uh,
Got a lot to play with there.
so again, Doctor Oddfellow is trying to become immortal, and I believe I'm trying to remember. I think this zone takes place more like in modern. Hold on.
I wonder how he entered that dark dimension where like these zodiac signs are real creatures, like real monsters that he wants to suck their power. How'd
Yeah.
you do that? How'd you open that dimension?
Okay. So this is the backstory. In his quest for immortality, Dr. Oddfellow has successfully found a way to travel to and take over Zodiac Dimension. To take over the Zodiac Dimension. Twisting all the Zodiac
Wow.
signs, Patreon entities there into his own devilish creations. With their power fully under his command, Oddfellow believed he was finally truly unstoppable, and now he would never die. Or so he thought. After his supposed death in 2007 at the hands of his former protege, a resurrected and vengeful Jack the Clown, Oddfellow's soul was cast back into the Zodiac Dimension, greatly weakened and lost for years, believed to be sealed away. Now, Having found a mysterious way to return to the mortal world, Oddfellow has opened a tear into the Zodiac and lured sacrifices in to rebuild his strength throughout Zodiac creatures' kills. Okay, so this is supposed to be in modern days, I think. So this does take place after he died in 2007 with Jack. His soul was cast back into the Zodiac dimension, greatly weakened and lost for years.
Oh,
But he did find a way to return to the mortal world, and this is this zone. And he opened a tear into the Zodiac, which helped him become immortal, like we talked about in the haunted house.
yeah.
And he lures in sacrifices to rebuild his strength.
The scare zone is an energy sucker for anyone who passes by, like a spider web, like we're the gnats,
Kind of, yeah.
right? I think I'm getting that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
I,
he's
I
just
like
eating
it.
our energy. So would that be like the end of the timeline as far as this goes? Like right now he's rebuilding his strength, or does it
I
continue in another scare zone?
I believe so. I believe they want you to see that first, and then you're going to go back in time of how it all started to see the backstory.
Okay, cool. It's like a reverse cliffhanger.
So that is the Dark Zodiac Scare Zone. Now we're going to keep going through Hollywood and into the Central Park area, Central Park Scare Zone, where all the trees are. This year, the Scare Zone is Jungle of Doom Expedition Horror.
Hmm.
So
Like zombie
that's
giraffes or what?
God. If they have
I'm
that,
into that.
it'd be so awesome. Wait, giraffes are not in the jungle?
What? Oh yeah. Okay. Well, even worse then. What's that doing there? Crap.
Oh my god.
If it
I
traveled this far,
God, if we still have people listening by then, I'm gonna be by this. I'm gonna be so surprised.
okay, my bad with the giraffe. Okay, not giraffes.
Okay, go ahead. Jungle of Doom. So this is going all the way back to the oldest,
Oh.
or like the very beginnings of Doctor Oddfellow.
In the 1920s, Dr. Oddfellow ventured deep into the darkest jungle, performing horrific experiments on nature. Now his monstrous creatures are running amok and on the hunt. Man,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
guy's doing like Nazi science, mad science experiments on like the innocent nature. Messed up.
yeah. Okay, so this is. I'm guessing this is technically before he was immortal, and this is him trying to find ways to become immortal.
I guess he's
Let me.
studying at this point.
Yes,
Yeah, practice.
I'm gonna find the backstory here. In the 1920s, Dr. Oddfellow ventured into an ancient jungle called the Jungle of Doom. There, he found a crystal skull in an ancient temple, which granted him powers. Using the skull, he twisted the flora and fauna of the jungle, turning them into his own abominations. It is implied that this was the skull that would eventually sit atop his cane of souls, one of his main sources of power. So, this is how he got the skull on top of the cane. So, yeah, this did help him eventually become immortal. Now, uh, here's something that we haven't talked about that I learned from the Universal podcast is Dr. Oddfellow is a shapeshifter, and he is going to appear in every scare zone.
Oh,
This takes place before the whole Jack battle, or the Jack fight and how they died, right?
yeah.
When Jack, fought with him, he sliced open his face, like gashed up his face. So after that point, I believe every other scare zone that we're going to talk about today, after this one, he is going to be in those scare zones, and the only way you're going to know is you're going to see just a random character with a scar across his face, and that's going to be Dr. Oddfellow. In this scare zone, I don't know if he's just going to be walking around as himself in there, or is he still going to be shape shifting into something else, but it's going to be harder to tell who he is in there because he's not going to have the scar yet.
Hmm. I don't know.
But either way, all the stuff that they're setting up for the scare zone right now looks amazing. The pictures that I've seen, it's just so cool. They're using like real plants for some of the props, and it looks
Nice.
awesome. There's like a whole like crashed plane in there right now. There's giant bats hanging out of the trees. That scare zone, they always decorate it so awesome. They really use those trees to their advantage. And
Yeah.
the only downfall with that area is the it gets kind of crowded and cramped in there sometimes.
They still got that corn out there?
They do not, but
No, they don't got the corn.
they do have real plants. So
Ah,
I don't know if that counts. So that is Jungle of Doom. Next thing we're going to talk about real quick is kind of unofficial. It's not even announced. We don't even know if it's actually happening. But there was a lot of kind of chatter about this on the
ooh, chitter chatter.
forums. Yeah, chitter chatter and on the forums and on social media. Usually there's like those chainsaw hordes, usually in the Simpsons area,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It's been kind of weird lately. The past couple years, HHN30, the COVID year, there wasn't anything, and then 31, there was a roaming horde of chainsaws, but they just kind of appeared in random places throughout the night. It wasn't locked into Simpsons. They would show up to Simpsons at a certain point of the night, but then they weren't there all night. I kind of hope they bring something at least back to the Simpsons area because that was kind of a cool area to go, and it was always unofficial. Like it was never on a park map. It was never announced. It was always just there. People would kind of just stumble upon it.
And it's like the natural habitat for clowns. It's like a theme park. They blend in with the colors. It's perfect.
Well, this year has kind of a different rumor about what's going to go there. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if
Okay.
it's actually going to happen. What they're saying, what the chitter chatter was, is that there is going to be a Megan horde walking around,
Oh, okay.
which to me is weird. Why is there going to be a bunch of Megans in an area? Would it be awesome if it was Megans with chainsaws?
Yeah, that would add something to it. Or any of the tools that you use in the movie. Any weapons, yeah.
With the whole Blumhouse connection, I mean, it would make sense how Megan would be part of the event, but people are also saying, why wouldn't they announce an IP? An IP like Roaming Horde? Why would they keep that a secret? Versus the other hordes were like just surprises that weren't IPs, they were just clowns with chainsaws. This would be an actual IP. So that's why people are kind of guessing that this probably isn't happening, but
Yeah, how would you not promote it, you know? It's publicity.
there's also people talking that there is some truth to the rumor, but it's only like one Megan that pops up throughout the park. You just kind of bump into her sometimes, kind of like what Jack did in
Oh,
HHN30 during the COVID year, where he
okay.
would just appear everywhere. So that could also be a factor where like that kind of chitter chatter came from. All right, so we'll go
Hmm.
past the Simpsons, and then we're actually going to go to something that's not officially a scare zone either, but it's actually been talked about online for quite some time. It's been a rumor. It's also been a lot of chitter chatter with it, but today, as of this recording, it was officially announced. So in Diagon Alley this year, the uh,
Death Eaters?
the Death Eaters are going to be in Diagon Alley.
Sick.
They will be there every night for horror
Man.
nights, which is cool. Now Harry Potter is going to be kind of its own scare zone, but that was kind
Yeah.
of a cool place to go to get some like a little bit of quietness for a little bit if you needed it. And now it's not. Now it's going to be kind of busy in there. It's going to be its own
Well,
little scare zone.
just in the Diagon Alley, right?
I believe it's going to be in Diagon Alley and outside in the London area too. I think it's both.
Yeah. It just the way it sounded like Diagon Alley, they would confine them to the evil part. But
Oh,
nah.
Nocturne Alley?
Yeah, I guess that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
No, no, it would be all throughout Diagon Alley as far as I know.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's kind of cool. I think this was kind of something to spread out people a little more because there's only going to be one show this year. Just kind of another thing to like people eat, especially because
Yeah.
there's Stranger Things and Last of Us this year.
Did you say people eat as in like to like lighten the crowd?
Light in the crowd, yeah, that's what I meant.
That's cool. Yeah, I got that.
So after the London front, where the Death Eaters are going to be, uh, we are going to go into the San Francisco area, right in front of the exit of Fast and Furious, And that is going to be Shipyard 32, Horrors Unhinged. Enter a 1940s San Francisco shipping yard full of mysterious crates and cages bearing Dr. Oddfellow's symbol. Beware, his nightmarish oddities have now escaped, spreading fear and chaos in their wake. It's pretty cool. They're kind of using the San Francisco kind of waterfront to good use. They're kind of saying it's like a shipyard, and there's going to be like crates all over the place that are carrying different types of monsters. And according to the Universal podcast, there's going to be monsters from Horror Nights past that are part of the scare zone. Basically, what all this is saying is Dr. Oddfellow has been in control of Horror Nights since the beginning. Like, he is the overall master of all the Horror Night years. I forgot to
Man,
mention that.
they're going full retcon. It's pretty
These
bold.
So a little backstory here. This zone took place in a 1940s loading dock in San Francisco that houses a warehouse that was owned by Dr. Oddfellow. With his powers increasing and his collection of dark artifacts and monsters growing by the day, Oddfellow has shipped various creatures from either his worldly travels or twisted experimentations to his private warehouse on Shipyard 32, whether for further study or for later use in his sideshow. However, the monstrosities have managed to break free and cause havoc in the area, mercilessly attacking the dock's locals who wandered by the shipyard. Rather than risk discovery of his warehouse or his own safety attempting to recontain the beast, Oddfellow decided instead to revel in the chaos of carnage they created, using his magic to disguise himself as one of the creatures, while still bearing his facial scar left by Jack, and attacking anyone who entered the shipyard. Personally, I think this is just Hellblock horror all over again from last year. That house that was built super quick was a replacement. That house was
Oh
basically
yeah.
a bunch of monsters of Horror Nights past up in jail cells, and that's all it really was. So this is kind of that, but in a scare zone form. This could be my least anticipated one, I think. It still sounds like it could be cool in ways, but just different monsters roaming around a scare zone in a shipyard, probably. All right, so we'll go ahead and go to the next one, the last scare zone. And this is actually a sequel scare zone, a sequel to a scare zone that we saw at HHN28. This scare zone is called Vamp 69 Summer of Blood. So, I mean, I'm sure you remember the scare zone from 28. It was Vamp 85, took place in the
Mm-hmm.
80s. Yeah, so this is going
Oh
to be
yeah.
the same location, but this is 60s, hippies probably, and Woodstock happened in 69, and there's already a stage there that kind of looks like the Woodstock stage.
These are not your dad's vampires. They're your grandpa's vampires, or your. No wait, yeah, they are your dad's. It depends on how old you're. Never mind.
I seriously thought you were reading the description. I thought that was part of the description.
No, it's a different era. Whatever. Here I go. I'm gonna read it.
Okay.
Vamp 69. 69 dudes. Summer of Blood. Okay, at a 60s music fest in a small New York town, guests will jam to popular bands with fellow concert goers until Dr. Oddfellow unleashes vicious vampires on the audience that are out for blood. So it's Woodstock, right?
Yep. It is kind of like Woodstock in a city,
Man,
basically.
those vampires are gonna be tripping, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They're
Um,
getting all the acid blood and the drug blood. This is gonna be a good one. That's gonna be cool.
yeah, I think it is. I think
Vampires.
the soundtrack will be cool. It's going to be, music from that era.
Yeah.
Hippie vampires, music goers running away from the
Woo!
vampires.
Yeah.
So they always bring back
That's a good vibe.
this school bus. They use this school bus almost every year.
Yeah.
They paint it different. This year it's sitting there all painted all like with flowers and like hippie looking stuff.
Yep. That's cool.
So the zone took place in 1969 in a musical festival in New York called Music Fest. Oddfellow would release a coven of vampires into the festival to wreak havoc on the small town. I think this is the scare zone that just kind of seems like Oddfellow was just thrown into it randomly. It doesn't seem to fit very much. Just randomly in 1969, he decided to release a coven of vampires into a festival.
he saw a large gathering of dumb, defenseless humans, and he was like, "Hey, feast." I wonder if he was looking for the trippy blood. He's like, "I'm gonna give my coven a treat. Here y'all go."
Well, I think it also ties into, he's still sucking in more souls
Yeah.
into his
Hey, these
cane.
guys taste different. Whoa.
There you go. But this could be really fun. I loved Vamp 85, and Vamp 85 was actually a sequel to Vamp 55 that happened at HHN 26, which we never saw.
Yeah, you can't go too wrong with this one.
I really hope they throw in a Bill and Ted reference somewhere, just because got to.
Wild Stallions. They're one of the bands showing.
All right, so that concludes all 5 scare zones. What a freaking year this is going to be! I'm so freaking excited for this. So there is one show this year, and from what I can gather out of everybody, the main consensus is everybody's kind of tired of it. But this year's show, it could be very different. Who knows? We'll find out. But this year's show is Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dream.
Oh,
So what happened last year, it was basically the same show with just a couple of new things added to it. So I think that kind of got people tired of it. Apparently this year is going to be slightly different. It's going to be a new person having a nightmare. I don't
okay.
know. So the description is the show that sparked the darkest of dreams has reignited. Nightmares burn out of control as pyro and aerial performers fire guests up to the beat of metal and electronica. Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll probably go and see it once, unless it's amazing. I doubt I'll want to see it more than once, but find out.
How did it end? I forgot the ending. Did he make peace with his nightmares?
Yeah, he became one of them.
I forgot.
He was okay with it.
Okay.
All right. So, with that being said, yeah, Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dream. We'll see how it goes. See if it's any different than the last 2 years. If not, I really hope that this is the last year for this, because to me it gets kind of old. But there's some people that like it. All right. So, real quick, we are going to talk about this new bar that is popping up in the San Francisco area behind the Lombard's restaurant. So this used to be kind of a quiet little bar that everybody would go to, and now they're gonna be using it to I don't know, bring more people in. So new this year, Peacock's Halloween Horror Bar will feature themed libations within an ominous nightclub vibe, photo opportunities, and more. This is going to be a Peacock themed bar, like the new streaming service, since that's part of Universal, and Chucky is part of
Okay.
it, and all that stuff. So
So NBC stuff.
exactly. So what has been officially announced for this? Check this out.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah.
The one character that they have announced to be at this bar is David S. Pumpkins is coming
What?
to Halloween Horror Nights 32.
He's the bartender?
I have no idea. I don't think so. I think he's just going to be like a performer that just hangs out there. I have no clue.
All right. Yeah. Uh,
So random, but again,
I
NBC Peacock,
I half expected like a puppet Chucky to be like behind the bar,
I mean, I
you
think
know?
Chucky maybe will make an appearance somehow there, but who knows? All right, so now that we talked about that, the Dead Coconut Club is also coming back to City Walk this year. So there's going to be a horror themed bar in City Walk again. Yeah, this year it is called The Revenge of the Dead Coconut Club in 3D. The location will transform into the Revenge of the Dead Coconut Club this month, where Monstergram Pictures is premiering its latest film, Target Planet Coconut. Oh, on the logo it says Universal Monsters, so I guess it's still going to be themed to Universal Monsters too. All right, so that is pretty much the overall guide, the overall event for HHN32. We talked about pretty much everything. What a crazy year this is going to be. Like I said, 9 more days until employee preview and 10 more days until the event starts, which is insane. So we're going to try to get this episode out before then. James, do you have anything last to say about everything we talked about?
Well, what if they, the running joke with the Invisible Man, he's not in any of the things. What if they don't include him at all? Like they forgot or he was running late, the actor? They could just say, yeah, he was there. He's naked.
They're going
He's
to
just
start
naked.
going
Come on.
they're going to start going with the fan-based joke, the inside joke.
Yeah, just double down.
All
It
right,
hurts no one.
everybody. Well, that was our official guide to HHN32. Like we said, we are more than likely going to be doing an episode on all the food. First, we're going to wait for all those menus to come out for the event to officially start, and then we can do an HHN32 food guide episode, which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the
Um,
grub.
all the grub. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for listening. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, there was a lot of things that happened from the time we recorded our last episode to now. A lot of things got in the way, life got in the way. But our last episode was the most listened to episode that we've had,
Wow, I didn't know that.
by far. So we really appreciate all the people that have listened, and we hope that you can continue to listen to us. And we apologize that there is a big gap, but we plan to get this back rolling. I will admit there was a time where, yeah, the podcast might have been just kind of put to the side for good, possibly. But I decided that was not worth it, that we should get back to it, and we're going to keep this thing going. So, again, appreciate everybody that's been listening. If you do listen, give us a review on whatever you listen to the podcast on. We would love to hear what you guys think, to hear any notes that you might want to give us. We will see you on the next episode, and we will also see you in the fog.
JJ says sorry for not doing more, but I say you get what you get. Quality over quantity. Don't cry about it. Peace.
No,
I'll be the bad cop.
I'm not.
See you in the fog.
I'm not putting that in.
Leave it in. Leave it in. I'll give you $5.
No.
Leave it in. Yeah, do it. That was good. That's all my energy. I put it in that.
You're damn right. Just wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while.
Hey everyone, just wanted to give a quick shout out to my good friend Zach Weber, who provided our intro and outro song, Heebie Jeebies. You can listen to the full version of Heebie Jeebies on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, or anywhere where you listen to your favorite music. Thanks for listening.